Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer. Today's fascinating deep dive into one of the most extraordinary stories in modern numismatic history, a tale that blends rarity, mistakes, minting errors, and the allure of unimaginable value. As we explore the incredible case of the 1985 D1 dime coin that has been reported as being worth an astounding $210 million despite its modest face value of just 10 cents, and while such a claim may sound impossible or even like an exaggerated myth, the truth lies in the strange convergence of minting anomalies, speculation, collector frenzy, and the intriguing world of rare error coins that can transform a piece of ordinary pocket change into a legendary treasure. So let's unravel the details and see what makes this dime so unique and why enthusiasts have elevated its story to such heights. Beginning with the fact that the United States Mint produces billions of coins every year, and the precision of this process is usually extraordinary, with machines calibrated to near perfection, yet errors do occur. And when they do, collectors around the globe take notice, because a mint error can mean the difference between a coin being worth a mere fraction of a dollar and it suddenly becoming a once-in-a-lifetime artifact of monetary history. And the 1985 D-dime fits into this rare category, for while the Denver Mint produced standard dimes in that year, the story goes that a very small number of coins emerged with unusual mistakes, ranging from double dies to misaligned strikes, and most importantly a minuscule detail concerning the mint mark, that tiny letter that designates the origin of the coin. And in numismatics, even the slightest variance in a mint mark can lead to immense value, as has been proven by countless past examples such as the famous 1916 D Mercury dime or the 1894 S Barber dime. So when whispers began circulating that a 1985 D dime had been struck with an error so unique and rare that no other known examples matched it, collectors immediately speculated on its value. And this is where the astronomical figure of $210 million began to emerge, not necessarily because of established market sales but due to the hype, the rarity, and the theoretical worth of possessing a coin that might literally be one of a kind. And although the average 1985 D dime in circulation today is still worth just face value or perhaps a small premium if uncirculated, the story of this era version has captured imaginations, with possibilities ranging from a missing mint mark to an incorrect doubling of the D, to even an accidental overstrike of design elements intended for a different denomination. And when one imagines a mistake so profound that experts can scarcely believe it left the mint, it is easy to see how rumors of nearly priceless worth can spread like wildfire. And while skeptics argue that no dime, regardless of error, could command such an unbelievable sum, we cannot forget that collectors have paid tens of millions for rare coins before, with auctions setting records again and again, and history tells us that when two or more wealthy collectors decide they must own a particular coin, the bidding war can skyrocket far beyond rational estimates, meaning that the 1985 D-era dime's mythical valuation, while staggering, may not be completely out of the realm of possibility in an extreme auction scenario. And beyond its dollar value, what makes the story of this coin so compelling is how it illustrates the human fascination with rarity, with imperfection turned into perfection in the eyes of collectors, and how something as simple as a dime can become a vessel of history, speculation, and dreams of hidden fortune waiting to be discovered in everyday change. Because after all, how many times have you emptied your pockets and thought about the possibility that one of your coins might secretly be worth a fortune? And the 1985 D dime feeds directly into that hope, keeping the legend alive. And whether the $210 million claim is ultimately more of a myth than a market reality, the important point is that such stories fuel the passion of numismatics, reminding us to pay closer attention to the tiny details, to the mint marks, to the dates, and to the imperfections that may set one coin apart from billions of others. And who knows, perhaps someone watching this right now will be inspired to take a second look at the dimes in their possession, to search carefully for signs of doubling, for strange errors, for misplaced mint marks, and in doing so may stumble upon the next great discovery that reshapes the conversation about value, rarity, and history. So in the end, the 1985 D dime worth $210 million stands not only as a captivating story of an error coin's supposed unimaginable value, but also as a testament to the enduring magic of collecting, the allure of the unknown, and the tantalizing possibility that a fortune could rest in the palm of your hand, disguised as nothing more than an ordinary piece of change. The world of rare coins, where a simple piece of pocket change has the potential to become a life-changing treasure, and in this case we are talking about the 1967 one dime coin, which though it carries the humble face value of just 10 cents, has been rumored, speculated, and discussed across collector circles and numismatic forums as being worth an astronomical figure of up to $645 million because of its unique background, errors, minting anomalies, and historical circumstances that have all combined to elevate this tiny coin far beyond the reach of ordinary currency. And what makes this even more intriguing is that 1967 was a transitionary year in the United States Mint, one that was marked by shifts in coinage design, materials, and even policy, meaning that mistakes and unusual variations were far more likely to emerge than during calmer periods. So when we hear about a 1967 dime being so valuable, it isn't just a random number but rather a reflection of the possibilities surrounding mint mark errors, double strikes, planchette mistakes, and other anomalies that make a single coin leap from the realm of ordinary change into the realm of priceless history, because collectors know that rarity drives value, and when a coin embodies the perfect storm of rarity, historical intrigue, and the thrill of discovery, the market responds with mind-bending valuations that sound impossible but are rooted in the deep passion of numismatics. And let us not forget that 1965 to 1967 was a particularly chaotic era, since the US Mint was experimenting with removing silver from dimes and quarters, transitioning to copper-nickel-clad compositions, and to reduce coin hoarding, mint marks were intentionally omitted during those years. So if a dime from 1967 somehow bears a mint mark, that in itself is an immediate red flag of a minting blunder, an error that was never supposed to exist, and such an anomaly would transform that coin into an ultimate rarity. Something so unique that even the world's most elite collectors would clamor for it, bidding higher and higher until values reached astronomical heights. And in addition to the mint mark anomaly, there are also reports and speculations of double die errors where the lettering or the torch on the reverse side shows doubling, creating a ghost-like shadow effect that is highly sought after by enthusiasts, while others suggest that certain planchets, the blank discs of metal intended to be struck into coins, may have been mixed up with older silver compositions, meaning that a few 1967 dimes could secretly be struck on silver planchets when they were supposed to be clad. And this type of off-metal error is among the rarest and most desirable in the hobby, especially when combined with the already unusual circumstances of the minting process at that time. And while skeptics may wonder how a dime could possibly reach a value as jaw-dropping as $645 million, the reality is that in the collectible market, rarity coupled with lore and mystery multiplies perceived value exponentially, and stories of such coins ignite imaginations worldwide, fueling legends about lucky finds in old change jars, thrift store purchases, or even hidden treasures sitting unnoticed in everyday circulation. And we can't forget that coin errors are often categorized into striking errors, planchette errors, and die errors, each of which can create rare varieties. So for a 1967 dime to be worth such a staggering sum, it would likely need to combine several of these categories at once, such as being struck on the wrong planchette, with a mint mark that wasn't supposed to exist, and a double strike or misalignment that makes it stand apart from every other dime in history, creating essentially a one-of-a-kind coin. And in the world of collectibles, especially numismatics, one-of-a-kind is the holy grail. The moment when ordinary transforms into extraordinary, and demand knows no limit because wealthy collectors, museums, and institutions are all willing to pay fortunes to secure ownership of such a unique artifact. And when we think about how coins travel through time, exchanged countless times, tossed into piggy banks, vending machines, or forgotten in drawers, the thought that one special dime from 1967 could be worth nearly $750 million makes the hunt all the more exciting, fueling endless searches through rolls of dimes at banks, estate sales, and garage sales. And it is this thrill of the hunt combined with the possibility of life-changing value that drives the viral interest in the 1967 dime. And even though the official US Mint stance might downplay such possibilities, history has shown us that rare minting errors do slip through the cracks, from famous double die cents to off-metal errors that now sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. So if the legend surrounding the 1967 dime are true, and if such a specimen with all its anomalies does exist, then the eye-watering valuation of $645 million begins to make sense in the context of passionate bidding wars, rarity, and the allure of possessing what no one else in the world has. And this is what makes the story so captivating, because while most of us see only a 10-cent coin, the numismatic world sees a potential treasure, a mystery, and a symbol of how even the smallest objects can hold unimaginable value, reminding us all that history, chance, and human fascination can transform pocket change into priceless artifacts. where we explore one of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare coins, a tale that takes us from the humble value of just a dime to the mind-blowing figure of hundreds of millions of dollars, because today we are going to unravel the story of a 2000p one dime coin that has been rumored and discussed as being worth as much as $734 million, a staggering jump from its tiny face value of 10 cents. And the reason behind such immense value is not just about the material of the coin. Not gold, not silver, but rather the errors, mistakes, and particularly the mint mark error and surrounding possibilities that make this coin one of the most talked about treasures in numismatic history. So let us take a journey into how a dime, which most of us would easily overlook in our pockets or even leave in the change tray at the grocery store, has been given a place of legend, collector's obsession, and astronomical worth in the market of rare and unique coins. And this story begins with the year 2000, when the Philadelphia Mint struck millions of Roosevelt dimes bearing the P Mint mark, a mark which identifies its origin. But among the many regular coins produced, errors began to appear, some visible only to the most trained eyes, others so dramatic they could not be ignored. And in the complex process of minting, errors can occur in countless ways, such as misstrikes where the coin is off-center, double dies where the image or lettering seems duplicated or blurred, planchet errors where the coin blank itself has imperfections, and mint mark anomalies where the tiny letter indicating the mint seems out of place, misplaced, or even missing entirely. And the 2000p dime holds within its history a perfect storm of such anomalies that makes it so compelling to collectors, because it is not simply a common dime but rather a canvas on which minting mistakes and peculiarities combine to elevate it beyond imagination. And while on the surface the coin looks ordinary, careful inspection reveals that some of these rare dimes carry doubled inscriptions, unusual die cracks, strange misaligned edges, or mint marks that appear either in the wrong location, too faint to be normal, or entirely absent. And this is precisely what drives collectors into a frenzy, because mint mark errors, especially in modern coinage, are exceedingly rare due to strict quality control in mints. And so when one coin or a small handful manages to slip through, the rarity factor skyrockets, and rarity in coin collecting is the heartbeat of value. The fewer the known examples, the higher the demand, and when demand is married to an iconic piece like the Roosevelt dime with a clear error, you suddenly have a recipe for value escalation beyond comprehension. And the stories surrounding this coin have taken on a mythical quality, with some reports and coin enthusiasts declaring the value to be as high as $734 million, a figure that seems almost unbelievable yet underscores the feverish speculation that surrounds unique mint errors. And while many may argue that no dime could ever be truly worth that much, in the collector's world, perceived rarity, historical significance, and the frenzy of competition can push prices into territories that the average person finds impossible to grasp. And consider for a moment that auctions of rare coins have often shocked the financial world, with small copper cents from the 1700s or nickels with slight design variation selling for millions. So it is not beyond imagination that a coin as dramatic as a 2000p dime with an unprecedented error history could be valued astronomically by collectors who want to own a one-of-a-kind treasure. And when you look deeper into what makes this coin so special, it's the combination of mystery and tangible flaw, because errors are like fingerprints, no two are exactly alike. So while you might find more than one dime from 2000 with a mistake, the specific mint mark, anomalies, die misalignments, or doubled lettering create uniqueness, meaning that each surviving piece is essentially one of one in its exact imperfection. And the psychology of collectors plays a huge role here, as those who have deep pockets are not just buying a coin, they are buying a story, an irreplaceable artifact, and the bragging rights of owning something that no one else in the world can claim. And that is where the astronomical valuation comes in, because if a billionaire collector wants to secure this piece of history at any cost, then suddenly even $734 million becomes not just a number but a possibility. And the importance of mint mark errors cannot be overstated, as history shows us that coins with misplaced or missing mint marks like the famous 1922 No D Lincoln cent or the 1970 Thess proof nickel with double die have sold for record-breaking amounts. And in each of those cases, the tiny details were magnified by the spotlight of rarity, and in the same way the 2000p dime represents a modern marvel of error collecting, proof that even in the new millennium, mistakes happen, and mistakes can turn an everyday object into something legendary. And beyond the technicalities, the sheer symbolism of a dime valued at nearly $750 million speaks volumes about human fascination with rarity, because it tells us that value is not always about utility or material, but about story, history, and desire. And as more collectors and enthusiasts chase After this elusive coin, its legend only grows, fueling more speculation, more excitement, and more astronomical price estimates. So when you hear about a 10-cent piece being worth $734 million, it's not just about the metal or the mint, it's about the extraordinary set of circumstances, the rare errors, the mint mark anomalies, the frenzy of competition, and the human drive to own something truly unique, making the 2000p dime a coin not just of value but of legend, forever bridging the gap between pocket change and unimaginable fortune.